Hey Rebels, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to showcase how I turned a $300 profit into a $300,000 profit over the course of this bull cycle. If you found yourself buying into the peaks and are now at a loss, this video is for you. I actually had a very similar start to my trading journey, and I just wanted to hop on here because there is definitely still hope. And if you grind through these hard times, there's definitely life-changing wealth ahead of you. So if that sounds good, like and subscribe, and please let me share my journey with you today. Now, I actually started my trading journey last cycle at the very peak, basically peak euphoria. There was a lot of attention in the market. I got a little interested, dumped a little money in there, made about $300 profit. That's where my $300 profit began. Now, I cashed out and I started to think about all of the possibilities. What could I do if I put even more money into the market? So I did what any reasonable person would do, and I dumped my entire life savings into the peak of the 2021 bull market. I then lost 80% of my life savings. That was 20 grand that over the course of a month, I ended up investing in various stocks and various cryptos, thinking that I was going to change my life forever. And unfortunately, I found out very quick that that was not the case. Now, luckily for me, I decided that I was going to continue to study and become a student of the market. And that's basically what I've done ever since. I devoted myself to becoming a a student of the market to learn everything that I possibly could because I knew there was something to this. I knew that I could change my life if I just actually hit the grindstone and devoted all of my time to this. So, why don't we keep marching forward of my trading journey? I really feel like my journey is very similar to most people's, where you basically go from losing money to breaking even to becoming profitable. Now, I started YouTube because I want that process to be as short for you as humanly possible because it took me a long time and I made a lot of mistakes, and you're going to learn a lot of the harebrained mistakes that I made along this journey with some insane realized losses along the way. Okay, so anyhow, effectively, I was able to identify an accumulation zone in Bitcoin. I was starting to learn different market mechanics and what happens during different phases of the market. And I realized that I got interested into the market at the wrong time. Basically, when euphoria was at its peak, attention was at its peak, the trade's basically over at that point. Another way to look at that is volatility. Volatility typically increases during a bull market and then it will decrease during a bear market. So what I found out was that I really wanted to be interested in the markets when volatility was low. It's a very simple gauge. It's not necessarily a trade trigger, but it can give you kind of a weather vane of what things are doing at the time. So obviously, when I got into the market, we had elevated volatility. We were at volatility highs here. Not a great time to be getting into the market. So then I learned over the course of the next year that I want to be more interested in the markets when markets go quiet. This is when everybody believes that Bitcoin is dead. I got in the market when everybody thought Bitcoin was going to the moon and that we were going to have a super cycle, extended cycle, kind of similar narratives that we're having now. And by the time Bitcoin got to its lows at 75%, 77% correction, similar to previous cycles, volatility was low. I recognized that we were probably more likely to see upside than further downside. And that's exactly what happened. We actually ended up reclaiming this support. We started accumulating in a higher zone. And it was at that point that I was pretty secure in my thesis that we were going to be starting another bull market, right? Um, and so as price increased, I want to showcase some of the harebrained mistakes that I made because yes, I may have come out of this with $300,000 profit, but there was a 3 year span here where I spent a lot of time listening to YouTubers. Another reason why I started this channel. Promising me higher prices, promising me, my millions in the various crypto assets. And it's very exciting. It's very exciting. It's a very volatile market. And so a couple of times I ended up getting myself over leveraged. Now, I would have smaller trading accounts, not necessarily my whole portfolio, but I killed more than three trading accounts. I actually had over $50,000 of realized losses. I actually lost $50,000 of real money down the drain, gone forever, and I was still able to make it back and walk away this cycle with over $300,000. And I basically just showcased the few times that I got myself liquidated, I got myself in trouble because of the emotions of the market, which you'll definitely have to learn up on. The psychology of the market was telling me during this time that we were going to continue on higher. We're gonna break previous cycle highs, and that this is what we have coming. And I was very exciting. We're so close. And so I ended up over leveraging myself during this time and lost 20 to $30,000 in this liquidation event okay, regroup. What can I do? Use this time to, basically rack up my trading account again. I gave it all back. I over leveraged myself again, and I gave another ten to $20,000 during this time. So over $50,000 in realized losses during this bull market. And it really wasn't until the very end of the bull market that I had finally decided that I was no longer going to listen to anybody else. Anybody that was telling me that the market was going to go higher, I wasn't going to listen to them anymore. I was just going to stick to one type of analysis. So the type of analysis that I use and showcase on this channel is Gann analysis. It's just technical analysis. And without getting too into it, that analysis is actually what ended up paying off in the long run because I had been studying technical analysis from the beginning, but I hadn't really put all of my eggs in learning that one skill. I was trying this strategy and that strategy, and these people were promising me this, and I was going to make my millions in that. And so it was just very alluring and very tempting to follow the narrative at the time. And it really wasn't until I decided to go with my own analysis that I was actually able to make money, not only make money, but actually keep my money. There were signals right here that we were going to have a deeper correction, and I effectively sold out of all my positions right around 108,000 when Bitcoin broke 108,000, and that is the point where I was able to walk away with $300,000 profit. So the moral of this story is even if you got into the market, let's say this is the cycle top. I'm not here to say that this is the cycle top, but there are indications that that could be true. It's a very similar time, regardless as to when I got in the market. So I wanted to hop on here and showcase my journey so that you don't have to go through this journey. If we are in fact entering a bear market, you have time to learn and learn a skill. I spent my time learning various different things, but honestly, I think I was kind of just drunk on YouTube. I would go on YouTube and find anything that was going to make me feel better about my position, make me feel better about where I was going to be putting my money. Anytime I followed other people's direction as far as what to buy or what was going to be the best trade, that's when I lost the most money. And if I would have stuck to my guns and I would have stuck to my own analysis of the entire bull market, I would have done a lot better. So I wanted to showcase that experience because I think that markets have a way of enticing people into the market at the worst times. So if you found yourself entering the market during these times, that's okay. That's normal. And honestly, the reality of trading in general is that it is a lifelong skill. It is a multi-cycle skill set. And if you stick with it, you can generate life-changing money. I feel like I'm proof of that because I did really stupid shit almost the entire time. I lost over $50,000. I keep drilling that in my head. I'm like, hardly can't believe it myself. The thing that saved me was I did during that whole time devote myself to one particular type of analysis. Now, analysis is different than trading. Now, you need to develop trading ideas off of that analysis. But it was with my own trades that I made the money, not somebody else's trades, not somebody else's trade ideas. I devoted myself to one style of analysis, learning how to analyze the markets technically for strength and weakness, and also how to recognize cycles and the timings of the cycles and how that plays a role. That is how I was able to actually make my money. So it's too much for this video. What I have to say is, even if we are entering a bear market and it is similar to the years past, and we have, let's see, 52 weeks would be a year. You typically have about a year of downside. We have time targets for the lows of the next cycle, potentially, right? These are the times where the money is made. If you can spend the next year studying markets, technical analysis, cycles, and not get, locked up into the hypes, and the narratives, basically, you can actually develop a skill before the next bull market. The reason I share my experience is because I had a lot of wasted time listening to YouTubers telling me what to do, and none of that time really did me any good. It was really only the time that I spent learning technical analysis, learning chart patterns, understanding how markets run in rhythms, and devoting myself to that study. That's actually what made me the money. So the way I see it right now, without getting super into it, is the next cycle effectively is going to be our next big opportunity. We have a real estate cycle that is behind all of these markets, behind the stock market, behind bonds, behind everything. The land market, the real estate market is the giant market that moves everything. And we are looking as though we are peaking in that market. We are probably most likely going into a secular bear market, which sounds crazy, but to be truthful, it's actually a really good news because that means you have more time to study and that you can allocate more capital during those lows and take advantage of cycles and the compounding effects that they have. So I really hope that this video was helpful. I just wanted to give you an authentic trader's journey. This is what a lot of people go through. And the reason I started YouTube in general is to save people as much as possible. If any of this sounds interesting, please join the Telegram group and hop in the chat, and you can communicate with me directly, ask any questions on how to start and where to begin your analysis. I definitely want to do more videos specifically on my style of analysis in the future, but I showcase it all the time on my channel. That's what I do. At the very least, I do a weekly analysis, and it's kept us on the right side of the markets for a long time. And there's a lot of noise and a lot of hype that happens, and this analysis that I've learned just quietly in the background is very, very powerful. It has called every major turn in this market, giving us an idea of time frames, how long they're going to last, things like that. Where there's a lot of confusion in the market, the style of analysis that I do brings a lot of clarity, and it helps give you lines in the sand. One of them being the 108 level that I happen to sell everything. Did I buy the exact bottom? No, because truthfully, I didn't buy until we were at these levels here, about 25,000, and I didn't sell until 108. So did I call the exact bottom? Did I call the exact top? No, but you make a chunk out of the middle, and there's a lot of heartache that I can save you just from experience. There's a lot of things that I don't want you to have to go through. I don't want you to dump your life savings into the top of the market and lose it all and run away. If you did dump your life savings and you're losing it all, I want you to stick with it. I want you to stick with this channel and stick with this analysis, because I promise you, just like with anything in life, if you devote your time and energy to it, you will become proficient, and it's going to change your life. It's definitely changed my life. I have never would have imagined that this would be possible for me, and I did it in like the worst way possible. There's so many lessons to learn, not just for me, but the pros, the great traders of all time. There's so much to learn rather than hopping on YouTube and hoping and praying that people selling you content are going to make you money. It's not going to be the case. So I wanted to hop on here and basically give you hope that there is lots of time. You have lots of time. That's the beautiful thing about markets, is they've always been here throughout all human history. Opportunities exist. This is just one cycle. This was one cycle. There are many cycles to come. I believe that the next bull cycle in the real estate market is going to be the trade opportunity of our generation. If you remember the great financial crisis, that was the real estate market rolling over the last time. It's been a very repetitive cycle that we've been able to record for the last several hundred years. It's been very reliable. Nobody really talks about it. I think that's one thing that's going to give us a huge edge in the market during the next several years, and keep us on the right side, along with this analysis that has kept us on the right side of this bull market the entire time. So I appreciate you making it this far. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Please join the Telegram group. You can contact me directly, asking any more questions, or share your own trading journey. That's one of the reasons I started the group as well, just to get a bunch of like-minded people together who want to learn as much as they can and ignore the hype and ignore the BS and just stick with the charts, stick with the data, and how can we make money in these markets? Okay, I appreciate it. Till next time, stay rebellious, my friends.